saying? I'm clicking in year 75. Gotta do 75. I'm entering my 75th season. Super stoked, super excited. And to be, be in this league again, be a part of it. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a hell of a year. So, Laker Nation, let's go. And let's get tapped in.
A record 23rd season, that means 23 media days for LeBron James. Here's how it's looked over the years. He said that 70 active players, they weren't even born when he made his debut. Well, with that kind of longevity, it also comes with a little bit of wear and tear, right? So the last time we saw LeBron James on the court, he was playing through an MCL sprain in the Lakers elimination game in Minnesota. That was the first round of the playoffs, right? Our Dave McMenamin, he covers the Lakers for us. He spoke to LeBron on Monday. Dave, what is the latest on LeBron James' health?
Malika, LeBron told me that he's not where he wants to be at this stage of the preseason. Now, he said, of course, that he has time to get there. But really, this is something that the Lakers are monitoring and LeBron's monitoring. And we discussed his ramp-up plan yesterday at Media Day.
How do you feel coming into the challenge of 82 games plus a hopeful playoff run?
Yeah, for sure. That's always the challenge. How can I get my body close to 100%? Obviously, coming off the MCL sprain of last year, obviously, the foot has kind of given me a little problems from time to time throughout the course of the last few seasons. So that's always the challenge of seeing how I can get my body, as close to 100% where I can go out and perform at a high level. So a lot of miles on my game. I've, trained, throughout the course of the off season. But just my presence is going to be important as well. Making sure that even if I'm not on the floor, I'm always in tune with what we're doing, so I know what's going on at all times. So, just looking forward to that.
LeBron told me that it remains to be seen how much he'll participate in training camp and in the preseason. I'm told that the plan going into the Lakers' first practice today is that LeBron would be a limited participant on the court, maybe only be involved in some light shooting, but certainly be here and be present. As for the preseason, the Lakers have 6 preseason games. He only played in 3 last year, and I was told that maybe he overdid it last year leading into the beginning of the season when he wore out come December. And so I'm told that LeBron's camp has spoken to the Lakers, and they said, let's be overly cautious with LeBron because we want to be looking at the long view here. If this team's going to be contending for a championship, we need LeBron in his best shape from April through June.
All right, and maybe that looks like not going full court press here in the preseason. Dave McMenamin, thank you very much. I want to welcome in our NBA analyst, Perkins, into this conversation as well. Perk, I think you're there. Are you out there? There he is. Perk, when you're turning 41, you know what? I was concerned for 1 second. But when you're turning 41 in December, like LeBron is, right, is that at all concerning to hear that he's not ready to go for the start of training camp, or is that just part of the course?
Malika, guess what?
What?
I'm turning 41 in November. We the same damn age, damn it. And he's still playing. He is still playing. So if he needs load management and to make sure that he's going to be available throughout the course of the regular season and in a playoff run, then damn it, he's deserved the right. I'm looking forward to watching Luka Doncic. This is his team now. The keys are in his hands. What is Luka going to look like in the preseason? What is he going to look like playing alongside DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart? I'm never worried about LeBron James. He knows his body more than anybody else's around the league or anybody in the history of the game when it comes down to taking care of his body. But this is Luka time, starting in preseason, the leadership. How are you going to lead? Are you going to be that guy that's going to overemphasize playing and locking in on the defensive side of things? So again, the Lakers are doing the right thing. LeBron James and his camp is doing the right thing. We want to see him for the regular season, not training camp in the preseason.
Well, the Lakers, they are practicing imminently. I'm very curious to see if LeBron James is out on the floor. It doesn't sound like he is going to be. And when we next hear from him on how he
circumvented the NBA salary cap by arranging a no-show job for Kawhi Leonard back in 2022.
When Steve Ballmer came and had that interview with Ramona Shelburne, he had plausible deniability.
Was there an exception made in terms of our relationship with aspiration? Absolutely not.
These revelations that came out today had substantially less plausible deniability.
The vice chairman of the Clippers made an independent decision to invest in aspiration 9 days before Kawhi Leonard got paid when no one else was getting paid.
how broad do your powers extend? As far as penalties you can assess to the Clippers, to Kawhi Leonard.
Have very broad powers in these situations.
So those allegations, they have unspooled over the last month. And on Monday, the Clippers, they held media day. And we heard from Kawhi Leonard for the first time since the NBA's investigation into that alleged cap circumvention began. Here's what he had to say.
I mean, it's easy for me. I mean, I don't read headlines or do conspiracies, theories, or anything like that. I mean, the NBA is going to do their job. None of us did no wrongdoing.
I think the allegation was that you didn't perform any services for them. Is that accurate, or did you do things for them?
I don't think it's accurate, but it's old. This is all new to you guys. I understand that full contract and the services that I had to do. Like I said, I don't deal with the conspiracies or the clickbait analysts or journalism that's going on.
Dennis knows the rules, Kawhi knows the rules, Mitch Franco knows the rules, and we know the rules.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes, we all know the rules.
That wasn't the question.
Ramona Shelburne was the one asking those questions, and she joins us now. We got to hear from Kawhi Leonard for the first time. What was your biggest takeaway here, Ramona?
Well, I wanted to hear from Kawhi Leonard because for 4 weeks we've been talking about this story, and I wanted to ask him flat out, did you do any work for this company?
Yeah.
I mean, the reporting had been that it was a no-show job. Okay, did you do anything? Did you provide any services? And he said, I don't think that's accurate. Now, that would have been the time to provide some examples of work that he may have done or had been contracted to do that didn't happen. And instead, he continued to talk about this is old, this happened a few years ago, you guys are just now finding out. I also wanted to know, and I think we all want to know, how much of that $28 million you were contracted for were you actually paid?
Yeah.
And he said, I'll have to check my books, but in the bankruptcy filing, he was listed as being owed $7 million. And he said, I'm owed a lot more than that. So in other words, even though he was contracted for $28 million, I don't think he actually was paid very much of that at all, at least based on what he said. Now, we didn't get much more detail. And I think that was the point where detail would have been helpful.
And I think you and I have had this conversation, whether or not that lack of detail, maybe a more generous take on it could be that's Kawhi Leonard's personality.
Right.
We don't necessarily hear that from him on any front, but knowing the importance and the gravity of this situation and the time you had to be able to prepare and talk about it, it would have been really important to have that detail. Now, we know that there's a difference, Ramona, between the amount that we talk about this situation and the amount that it actually impacts a Clippers locker room that's hoping to make a splash in the West. What is that gap?
It's giant. I mean, the guy who was asked about the aspiration story was Kawhi Leonard and Lawrence Frank. And every other player on Clippers Media Day was asked about the Clippers. Chris Paul was asked about coming back to the Clippers after all these years. And Bradley Beal was asked about leaving Phoenix. And James Harden was asked about is he going to load manage, or is he going to, so he can stay fresh at the end of a playoff series. They actually had some interesting comments about Chris Paul and how he's sort of the loudest voice in the room already. He's taking the young kids out to practice. John Collins was delightful. I mean, there was one story over here with Kawhi and Lawrence Frank, and there was the team which starts training camp today. And I don't know that we hear much more about this while the NBA investigates, unless there's some new revelation or some new news. But one thing that's in the back of everyone's mind, the All-Star game that's at Intuit Dome this year in February, would be good to have some resolution on this one way or the other before that.
Adam Silver has said that this is a process that could be a long one. We don't necessarily have an end date, but you're right. It would be interesting to know if we will see this open and shut by February. Ramona Shelburne, thank you so very much for your...
you.